My work is a celebration of our collective spiritual journeys, and I have an interest in both people's perceptions and perspectives. A perception, how people translate, understand reality, and a perspective is the vantage point for how they look at the world. I think if you change your perspective, you can change your perception sometimes, whether you need to or not. So I just kind of have a lot of pieces that are about kind of benign things that you could prescribe meaning to. Like, is it something scary or is it something beautiful? You need to decide. Like, maybe I'll take something that might be perceived as scary and put it and paint it more beautifully, and then the person will see it in a different light. The paintings on display at the Guild are just like kind of celebrations of life, real happy paintings. A lot of those panels are pieces I made while traveling over the last couple months. And so, yeah, I probably was in a pretty adventurous mood while I was traveling.
My work is certainly a collision of elements because I like to use other textures and found objects, really discovered encaustic during the COVID shutdown. Encaustic, it's an interplay of molten beeswax and Denmark resin. And when you apply heat to it and pigment and a couple great ideas, you get these incredibly sculpted surfaces that somewhat transcend traditional media. Very, very rooted in ancient techniques. One of the cool things about encaustic is there's control, but also spontaneity, because as much as you want to control it, it's pretty hard to control. There's a tactile exploration and experience with encaustic. It will deliver, at least in my work, there's a sense of permanence, but also imperfection in that permanence. And I think that's what gives it some really cool history and interest.
This is Jen Eldridge from Roofless Painters. The pastoral paintings we created for this show are reinterpretations of a genre steeped in myth and control. Pastoralism as a frame for idealized nature, composed serenity, and colonial gaze. Our starting point was Places of Delight, the Pastoral Landscape, a 1998 exhibition presented at the National Gallery of Art and the Phillips Collection in Washington, D.C. The show examined how artists from the 17th to 19th centuries constructed imagined visions of rural life. The subject became a response to the devastation caused by the fires that swept through parts of Los Angeles in January of 2025. Images of entire landscapes and neighborhoods reduced to ash left an imprint of our collective psyche. In turning to pastoralism, we sought to engage in restoration, to use painting as a counterpoint to loss, and as a way to reimagine a landscape not as decimated, but held, idealized, and made whole again in the act of depiction. The adjacent Matilaha wall features a salon-style installation of poppy paintings created over multiple springs, all painted from life in the Santa Monica Mountains. The Matilaha poppy is native to Southern California and holds a deep renaissance in the Chumash mythology, where it is said to symbolize both death and rebirth, floral presence at the site of spirit transition. Painting Matilahas in their natural habitat and blooming season have become a yearly tradition, a ritual of witness, a way of tracking ecosystems. Together, pastorals and Matilahas hold space for historical reference and seasonal return, collective memory and intimate study, celebrating what happens when painting becomes a practice of shared presence across time.
My project, entitled Emergent Properties, is about bringing seemingly unrelated things together, create an opportunity for a reconsideration of how everything physical and spiritual is connected. The unexpected groups exist in the pieces on their own planes, invite the viewer to consider the possibility that they can exist beyond our commonly used categories, how we organize things in the world. It's a visual of the concept that everything in the universe is connected and an opportunity to consider how.
I started painting the flowers and the things that I do because I just felt like it was in a really dark time and I'm just really connected to nature. And I feel like I'm documenting the things that are coming and going so quickly, and people just move so fast, they're not even paying attention most of the time. And so I just wanted to put it out there so that it's kind of always there, including the bees and the hummingbirds, of course, because those are the things that are just really important to me. And really, it's just another extension of me.
I'm Gregory Beauchamp. I'm the artist behind the piece Who's In, which is a bunch of hands making a peace sign. To me, it's a peace sign made of hands. Originally, there is the words "who's in" at the top, really small, which I imagine a child is asking everyone who's in. And all these adults go, it's as simple as that. I'm in. We all want tomorrow to be better than today, regardless what that looks like. I think that's the impulse of every human. For me, I hope it's love and peace. And so I'm in. As part of the show, I also gave away little single hands, which on the back of was printed the word "I'm in." So in relation to the larger piece, as participants would wander through the gallery, they would see that their little single "I am" hand related to the larger "Who's In" peace sign. I didn't really think too much or too deeply about it. It just seemed pretty simple about a bunch of people, a group forming into the thing that they are.
My overall concept with the words that I'm using, such as yes and hello world, are meant to set a very positive starting point to what I'm doing. Things that are positive, things that make you feel good, colors that are appealing, things that are more in a magical realism world than in an actual realism world. Pink, colorful skies, maybe a little bit of surreal color in a real setting. Part of the idea with the mirror is, where do you see yourself in this, and how are you interpreting as it reflects back at you? How does it make you feel? So it's more than just landscapes. It's more than just direct representation. The idea is to bring you into it and ask yourself the question, how do I fit in? How do I see things? How am I framing life? And how I let it present itself to me, and maybe how can I help myself control a better and more positive outcome as I look at things. Could call it even rose-colored paintings. Looking for joy, looking for happiness, looking for upbeat, looking for happy colors, stuff that makes people feel good.
This is her son, Falcon. Oh my God. And then it's like literally that there's been an article in the paper that people have decided to
Stokes. I think it comes from being like really emotional person. I can feel subtle notes of like story and emotion. And when I look at a painting, I can feel like from it. And I want people to feel that from my stuff too. Because I guess it's like I feel like I can relate to it, and it's a great feeling to look at something beautiful or weird or whatever it is. And I want to replicate that feeling for other people.
My name's Richard. I also do glass work, glass fusing, glass mosaicing. I've done leaded glass work. This idea, trying to combine different crafts into one unified concept about religion, our need to understand our world, playing with hieroglyphic imagery, reinterpreting it in technological expression, using apps as a tool to communicate. Technology is becoming all-encompassing in our lives. This idea is intended to put people in a situation where they're confronted with this reality in an uncomfortable way, but in a very kind of soothing environment. And that's why I chose to make apps that represent a church window to kind of reference the religious need to know that humanity always has pursued, and then how that kind of resembles the technological need to know and need for understanding. And then I made this ancient looking tray to serve tea on with a chimera, a mythological beast. I made these trays made from imagery of drone strikes from war zones before and after, and those trays are intended to serve the tea in relaxing experience where people kind of have conversations, and the idea is to force the conversation about technology and if our relationship with technology is healthy or not. I want to use imagery with the projector of drone strikes on a wall while also simultaneously flying a drone in the area recording the people engaged in the art piece. Ideas like this where I can use my know-how skills regarding all these, crafts that have been around for thousands of years and reinterpreting them in a modern context.
I'm GREGGEGG. I'm a multimedia artist. My paintings are abstract, action-orientated. My sculpture's kinetic and acoustic, wire form, wood, acrylic, releasing the beauty in materials, releasing the sounds, finding something that was hidden. I've developed a little acoustical and electronic habit of releasing the sound, letting it be heard. It's about beauty, about action, frequency, sound, being alive.